Welcome to ΣիվիլNet. My guest is Yeghishe Kirakosyan, a lawyer and representative of the Republic of Armenia on international legal matters. Mr. Kirakosyan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So in February, Azerbaijani Minister of Culture Anar Karimov announced that a working group had been established to remove the fictitious traces written by Armenians on Albanian religious temples, as he said, in Artsakh. There is the danger of seeing the Armenian cultural and historical heritage be erased in the region. And this new purge comes after an important decision by the International Court of Justice on December 7, 2021, that ordered Azerbaijan to stop destroying Armenian monuments. The ICJ ruled in the Armenia versus Azerbaijan case that Azerbaijan must take all necessary measures to prevent and punish acts of vandalism and desecration. What can be judicially done to prevent any kind of destruction of cultural heritage from Azerbaijan?
Thank you. In reality, I think those 2 points are very interconnected. I mean, the decision of the International Court of Justice, or the order of the International Court of Justice of 7 December 2021, and the subsequent contact by Azerbaijani authorities. And I think that it has been also represented during the hearings in The Hague in October 2021, when the Armenian consuls, the team of Armenian consuls while representing a case, was mentioning over and over again that Azerbaijan's tactic is a mirroring tactic, which means that they are trying to fabricate a case and mirror a case, and I think this conduct that they are seemingly trying to create the impression for the international community that they are the ones who are fighting the falsification or trying to understand whether the historical monuments have been falsified. This is, I think, a maneuver or a tactic specifically engineered for that very purpose of somehow putting the blame on the Armenian side instead of Azerbaijanis. And they know very well that the court ordered to stop destruction of the cultural heritage monument and to punish any acts of vandalism or desecration of the culture or religious monument, Armenian historic monuments, and which is a very important step. I know that after the recent developments that happened in Azerbaijan, I mean the announcement or statement made by the Azerbaijani relevant authorities on the setting up of so-called working group, we have the reaction, or we had the reaction by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Armenia, which was followed by an official letter signed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Armenia and sent to Minister of Foreign Affairs of Azerbaijan, and seeking for clarifications about the recent announcements, and we're waiting to see what the reaction of the Azerbaijani Foreign Minister will be, and based on that reaction we'll take the necessary measures then.
We've seen through videos that many historical sites and buildings were destroyed by Azerbaijan in the territory of Artsakh, even after the ICJ's decision. Knowing that there is no UNESCO representation in the Artsakh region to impeach the destruction of Armenian cemeteries and monuments, are there new mechanisms or new means that could quickly protect the Armenian heritage from these destructions?
It is, I think, very unfortunate that due to Azerbaijan's non-cooperativeness, UNESCO is not having the access to the sites or access to the region to monitor the situation. And that's very alarming. I think because the Armenian side have been repeatedly raising this issue of the granting the access of UNESCO for that very purpose. But with regard to other mechanisms are available for ensuring the protection of cultural monuments, I think it is the court which Armenia has already used or has already triggered by applying or bringing the application for not only instituting proceedings against Azerbaijan, but also an application and request for provisional measures, especially with regard to the cultural heritage. And I think in this context, like since we have the ongoing proceedings at the court, and we will be very mindful, we will be very attentively watching Azerbaijan's conduct, and in due course and when necessary we can also further use or utilize other instrumentalities availed by the court statute and by the court itself.
Mm-hmm. And as the representative of the Republic of Armenia, do you plan to file a specific new case against Azerbaijan in that direction?
I can't. In any case, the case has been already been filed, and in the framework of that case, Armenia is entitled to bring or to raise new evidence or to raise new information or to draw the court's attention to some instances, which Armenia will do if necessary. And I mentioned the ministers, foreign affairs minister's letter addressed to Azerbaijani foreign ministry. That's a key here because we need to understand, we need to receive the reaction from the Azerbaijani government to see what's the reaction. Based on that, to decide the next steps.
And also, it seems that the question of the protection of Armenian cultural heritage is only a matter between Armenia and Azerbaijan, but cultural heritage should be a matter for the whole world, as these sites and monuments are part of humanity. So what can be done to raise more awareness at the international level? I think
it's a very good point that you're raising, and I think that the protection of cultural heritage, or first speaking about the Armenian cultural heritage, is not only and should not only be the issue only for Armenians or between Armenians and Azerbaijanis. But I do believe that since we are talking about the Christian cultural heritage, first of all, and also it's the heritage of the whole mankind, and we need to raise the awareness to the historical truths, and we need to be very actively working to counter this campaign of falsification and a campaign of the falsification of history and historical facts by Azerbaijan, which is now continuing. I think the very fact of the establishment of that working group and the efforts that they're making, it's targeted exactly to that. That's the one aspect of the racial discrimination. That's one aspect of the hatred and animosity towards Armenians. In one way of one of the many ways through which Azerbaijani authorities are manifesting these policies, and the policies aimed at erasing any Armenian presence, historical presence in that region, and that's in itself entailing this campaign of falsification of histories, which started, I think, decades ago, even during Soviet Azerbaijan times, which we understand, and we really need to work not only in the legal field, because that's not the only avenue. Before that, we need also to be active, not only lawyers, but also the academic and scientific community needs to be active and writing and publicizing and drawing the attention of the international community to this very particular issue. And that's a very important task we need to do, because that's otherwise, that's, you rightly mentioned, you'll be only issue between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which should not be the case.
We know that the issue of racism or hatred against Armenia and the cultural heritage is not the only issues that are concerning Armenia. What happened with Azerbaijan? Are there other new files or cases that Armenia is getting ready to apply for at the ICJ?
Yeah, we are, Armenia is always monitoring and looking at the possibilities, of course. We cannot disclose at this point what we are thinking and what next steps we'll be taking later on, but that's usually we don't do that. I think states don't do that, but of course Armenia has already filed a number of cases against Azerbaijan and also against Turkey in the aftermath of the 44-day war in 2021, and we filed the first case, first case by Armenia, interstate proceedings against Azerbaijan. I think before that we'd never had this active involvement or active engagement by Armenia with the international legal tools. And we filed also the case against Turkey with regard to the violations taken place during the 44-day war by Turkish involvement of the Turkish military and use of mercenaries, financing and use of mercenaries. And also, finally, there was the case brought based on the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination at the International Court of Justice, which is a major, I would say a major development, because it is for Armenia to raise this persisting issue of anti-Armenia or Armenophobia, which has been the central element of the policy for past decades in Azerbaijan. And that has been, I think Armenia couldn't not to take up any measures in this direction. It is a matter of not only the human rights, it is not only a matter of international commitments, but also it's a matter of international peace and security. Because when a country is propagating a hatred against a group, that ends up triggering wars, and that ends up triggering crimes against humanity and war crimes and heinous crimes. And you need to, and the root cause of that is this animosity and hatred that has been implanted for decades, and generations have been raised or have been educated on this ideology of hate. And that inevitably brings up or creates this heated environment. And when conflict erupts, and then you have grave breaches of Geneva Conventions, then you have war crimes, crimes against humanity. So this is a very crucial and central topic for the security and peace as well. And because why am I emphasizing this? Because I've been asked many times whether the using of international legal tools is not contradicting the agenda of peace that has been propagated by the government. I don't think so. I think, on the contrary, you cannot talk about a lasting peace. You cannot talk about environments or healthy environment for peace without justice. You need justice for ensuring peace, because otherwise you need to eradicate these underlying reasons. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kirakosyan, for this talk. Thank you for watching, and continue to follow CivilNet.